Oh, hello there. Yes, it's Sunday, God's Day. And speaking of which, we have the delights a bit later on the new Couch of Oldham of Ben Dabowski. He's a guy who's sort of been cropping up on places like GB News and at the Free Speech Union, jumping up and down about the absolutely dreadful and definitely truly bad things that have happened to him. Let's have a look at him with everyone's favourite homophobic cosplay vicar, Calvin. Here he is.
Now, a Christian teacher who was asked to give his views on marriage at a training course was subsequently sacked for so-called hate speech. Ben Dabowski was a teacher at the Bishop Llandaff Church in Wales school and was prompted to share his views during a diversity and inclusion seminar. However, despite being told it was a safe space and that he should feel free to speak freely, he was told the next morning that he was being dismissed. Well, Ben Dabowski joins me to discuss this now. Ben, you were part of a DIE training. Well, I mean, they shouldn't be in schools in the first place. But while you were in this training session, you were asked the question of what your views were on marriage.
I mean, generally the seminar, this talk was about diversity and inclusion.
Right.
So there were lots of issues that were discussed during that meeting, and there was a quick question and answer session at the end. And there were a few things that prompted me to ask that question, and I just, it was a genuine question, but I illustrated it with my views, which was the beginning of my end at the school.
What was your view?
My question was, how does the speaker define discrimination?
Okay.
Because it seemed to me that a mere expressing of one's views could be interpreted as discrimination according to what she was saying.
Right.
So I asked, that was the question. I said, for example, would some of my views could be regarded as discrimination? I mentioned three things. That I believe a true marriage is between a man and a woman.
Yes, that's what marriage is.
Yes. By the way, as you said, it's an Anglican school, Christian school,
right.
Nominally at least. So it shouldn't be surprising an opinion like that to be expressed there. The second thing was that human life begins at conception and should be protected from that moment, in my opinion, because I was talking about my beliefs.
Yes.
And the third one was, it was a no-brainer actually, not even necessary to do with Christianity, that I am critical of some aspects of Islam.
Okay, so all three of those views are Christian views and have always been
pretty mainstream, yeah. They are even generally mainstream.
Yes, there you have it. A tale of woe, isn't it? Except, if you actually do a little bit of digging about Ben, we end up with the archetypal, hang on a second, viewpoint on his particular story. He's been, like, in the Daily Mail, as I say, he's there with GB News, and he's also been a featured speaker with the Free Speech Union. And what all of these things have in common is that nobody's actually asking, is that true? Because, of course, for the right-wing media, it's not important that things are true. What's important is that they look to them like they're true. Now, Ben was employed at a religious school, as a lot of schools are in the UK. They're nominally religious, if you like. It's a historical thing, but effectively they're businesses these days. Anyway, living that side. Anyway, he was employed as a teaching assistant and teacher, from what I can make out, just simply on a very temporary basis. So a school might not feel that letting him go was a great loss. The problem I have with him and his whole, I've been treated so badly and unlawfully, effectively, is of course that if he was a member of a union and what had happened to him in the sense of him being frog-marched out of school the next day, as he claims, which I'm sure is true because of a safeguarding issue, then his union would jump up and down, and if you made a phone call to a union and such a thing actually had happened the way that he described it, he'd be back at work probably the next day. But that hasn't happened. Now, is Ben maybe not a member of a union? It could be. Ben might not be a member of a union because some people don't want to be members of the union for very political reasons. I think anyone that works in a school that isn't a member of a union is a bit of a moron. But that's a personal viewpoint, that's his choice. But that then means that he basically has to employ his own lawyers now. He might not get far with that. Yeah? Now, you might argue, if you're of a certain political persuasion, that, oh, well, them unions, they're just really woke and they'll, of course, support all the lefties in the school. Except, of course, once again, that isn't reality, is it? Because that's not the way that unions work. My particular local union rep is an ex-firefighter, and I personally wouldn't want to come up against him if he was representing me. It's a bit painful to watch. Yes, so what we have, of course, is Ben, who fits into a notion of what the right-wingers want you to believe goes on in schools, even if it's not real. And, as we saw with Cosplay Vicar, you get the whole, oh, do tell us what the bad people did to you, did it hurt, sort of style of interviewing. And that's it. Yeah, that's it. The guy, no doubt, if he loses his case, will appeal. No doubt he'll set up a crowdfunding page where you can donate thousands to a completely waste of time campaign. I'm going to suggest that Ben was fired because the stuff that he was saying, and you get hints of it in the Daily Mail article, the stuff that he was saying was extremely dodgy, and he'd said it in a particular way. And like I say, I think there was a lot more going on. Make up your own mind about that, by all means. But we are presented with this view of a kind of schools whereby various people walk around with Maoist armbands, simply waiting for somebody to utter the wrong thing where they'll be dismissed. Sorry, that's not reality. Anyway, do enjoy church on Sunday. Get your own dose of reality there. Enjoy.